crashing market gets a team of the tournament knockout. We ask the FUT economist, how low can it go? Plus a look at that TOTKS, the current TOTW, the upcoming TOTS, and the drafted TOTS MCG. All that on this week's FUT Weekly. Hello and welcome to week 31 of FUT Weekly. I'm Ben and I'm here with Horace.
Hello.
And we are here to take you through some of the dramatic events of the past week and a half. It was Wednesday when we last did our pod, so it's been a bit longer. I think in that pod we said something like, there probably won't be much going on in the next week and a half or week. So we'll be able to talk about some stuff we don't normally get to talk about.
Exactly. We've got a kind of backlog of vague discussion topics more generally around FIFA, but it's just kind of been non-stop content from EA this year, really. We haven't had a chance. And this week is no exception. I guess there's a few things that we'll probably cover. We've seen EA start to do a Team of the Week player as a reward from the weekend marquee matchups from that last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's definitely encouraged a lot of people to do it.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a big market crash, which we will come on to, or Ben will discuss with Jamie, the FUT economist, later on. And just last night, we had the team of the knockout stages drop on us.
I mean, that's been pretty significant, especially for the market. But yeah, they've kind of done the whole guaranteed team of the knockout packs. That's obviously made the team quite cheap, actually. It looks, it's obviously a really good team. We'll discuss that, I think, in the kind of player reviews section or the player discussion section, where we'll also talk about the team of the week. But in terms of the actual SBCs, they're kind of different to what you'd expect. Yeah,
they're sort of in a format we've not seen before, in that they are repeatable, which obviously we've seen with guaranteed team of the week packs in the past, the one to watch bonanza we had in January, February? Can't remember. So they're repeatable, but rather than just one squad, it's multiple squads you have to do. So there's a tradable version and an untradeable version. For the untradeable version, you have to submit 2 squads, one 82 rated, including one team of the week player, and one just 83 rated. So in the past, for the team of the week and one to watch, repeatable ones, you never needed a special card to do the untradeable one.
Yeah.
Whereas for this you do, which dramatically increases the cost, I think, really, on top of previous ones. But also the fact that you have to do 2 squads, it makes it a lot more expensive. And then the tradable one is 4 different squads, which we've not really seen before for like a repeatable SBC in the past.
They're still quite, they're 4 squads of players, but they're not necessarily the most valuable players at all.
Yeah, you can do it probably, if you're strategic about it, fairly cheaply. So it's an 81 rated squad and an 82 rated squad, which is not too bad. Then in addition to that, it's a squad of 10 rare gold players and 1 team of the week player, and another squad of 10 rare gold players and 1 team of the tournament player. So you can use previous team of the tournament cards, as in from the team of the group stages that we had.
Although these are so cheap.
But a lot of these, the budget end of this team of the knockout stage, these cards are kind of some of the cheapest special cards on the market right now, actually, because...
like the guy that I packed.
Yeah, Pozuelo or whatever?
Pozuelo.
Yeah, pretty uninspiring cam from Genk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the tradable SBC, kind of what's significant about it being 4 different squads is that to bring 1 card into the game, you're getting rid of 44 cards. Yeah. It's like 4 full squads. I mean, you get Player of the Month SBCs where you don't have to submit that many cards. And it's not only higher rated cards. The 2 special card squads can be kind of 75 rated rare gold cards.
Yeah.
So they're getting rid of rare cards kind of from across the spectrum of ratings, which could actually, over the course of the 4 or 5 days, I think, that these SBCs are still available, really drive up the price, or just remove some of the surplus of those very low rated gold cards on the market.
Yeah, and actually that untradeable one being so much more enticing because of the just 2 squads to complete, and it's fairly, it's cheaper anyway. There's just less cards to submit and it's less hassle to do. I think a lot of people have been doing the untradeable one, which really does just lock away value. Those cards just disappear, really. That card doesn't go back onto the market. So it does really kind of suggest that EA are removing players.
Yeah, they're trying to clear out the game a bit, I think.
Yeah. And also these cards, I mean, they're going to drop in price massively because of this. The constant recycling of players through this will mean that the high-rated cards are the ones that obviously end up on the transfer market. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be relatively cheap. And with the current kind of market dip, I can see things recovering a bit, as we'll discuss with Jamie later. But the thing is, some of these players may actually be considerably cheaper than their team of the seasons.
Yeah.
And the team of the seasons might be, say, Dybala might be ridiculously high rated, but you may not be able to afford that card anyway. So this might actually be a good chance to pick up some of these top players for relatively cheap as this goes on.
Yeah, certainly. And as with a lot of high rated informs, if you're maxing out stats with the chem style, then kind of getting say like an 88 inform rather than a player's 89 inform doesn't always make that much difference at all.
I mean, Dybala's like a classic. Obviously his strength is not great, but like if you put Hawk on him or something, your stats aren't going to be hugely varied when you're looking at the team of the season card and you're looking at this card. So
I mean, it's something we can get onto more, but I was just comparing Dybala's 85 base non-upgraded gold card to this 91, and in pace, shooting and dribbling the differences are on average about kind of 5 stat points, which is something that you can easily make up with a chem style. It's only in passing, physical and defending which where there are any significant changes, and that's a card that's kind of 85 versus 91, so you'd expect a bigger upgrade maybe.
That's kind of more for later, but the reason why EA are probably have dropped this, I suspect, is so that they can clear cards off for team of the season. How soon we'll see team of the season is obviously up for debate. A lot of people suggesting basically this gold most consistent draft, I think, is due it's due to kind of end on the 24th. So
so for people who don't know what that is, each year the first team of the season that drops is the gold most consistent, followed then by the silver and bronze most consistent. And that's a team of the season of players who've been excellent across the course of the season but have never gotten inform. And that is actually decided by people on the FIFA forums, which are hosted by EA. Anyone can go on there, but only a fairly small proportion of the Ultimate Team player base do.
And so voting quite interesting cards.
Yeah, you can get some like kind of hipster picks, but also voting for those drafts of the most consistent gold team of the season have been ongoing. And as Ben says, I think the deadline is just a couple of days from now.
Yeah, as I said, on the 24th of April. So we're likely to see it, I reckon, within a week or two of that. So you're looking at early May, most probably.
Yeah, people are suggesting it could be late next week. But potentially the week after that. That first week of May seems maybe like the most likely time that we're going to see Team of the Season drop.
Cool. Well, should we have a quick look at the most up-to-date draft? It's worth mentioning that because of the previous years, some years they've had weeks, like I'm talking like a month or two from the completion of the draft to the release, and that's meant that loads of players have been knocked off as they got informs towards the end of the season, which is quite weird. It happened a few years in a row, but in this particular instance we think that it's going to happen fairly swiftly for some reason, whether that's justified or not considering the delays on some things you've done this year, I don't know. But we should go through, take this with a pinch of salt. It's just the draft, but it's highly likely that many of these players will be in it.
This will be the 5th iteration of the draft. It's a squad of 24 players plus I think 2 reserves who are there, I guess, in case, as Ben says, any of these players get an inform in the however long it ends up being between the final decision and the team of the season actually being released. And there are some pretty nice cards in there. This most up-to-date one, Dani Carvajal from Real Madrid, the highest rated, their prediction of a 90, which would suggest a +6 on current best 84. Card. Jan Vertonghen also in there.
Fazio, who is the Roma Argentine centre-back, who has about 50 pace, doesn't he?
Yeah, not a particularly interesting card there. But Jonathan Vieira, Spanish centre-mid.
Currently a left mid.
He's a left mid. He got a big upgrade to an 82. Potentially.
Quite why he's an 89 in this, I'm not sure. Cause, this actually leads on to another point, is how they're going to do the team of the season upgrades. Personally, I think it'd be great if they did it similar to team of the week. For those who haven't played FIFA before this year, EA used to do upgrades informs, so that a 75 rated gold would only get like a 77 inform for his first inform. But now they do it so that there's a sort of baseline of 81, so any inform, gold inform, is automatically an 81 no matter what overall is.
An upgrade from a silver, in which case it's an 80, but that's a kind of fringe case.
That is a good point actually. But what I was thinking with this is it'd be really good if they set like a baseline so that you always had like a really solid team of the season card, because there are some cards in here that this is suggesting, because if it's just a +6, say for example an 85 theoretically, a 75 could theoretically get like an 81.
Yeah, and I think we have seen 81 rated team of the season cards in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes they can be quite nice. They have some very nice stats, but other times they're just a kind of maybe slightly more expensive team of the week card.
Yeah, they're just like a pack filler, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
And it would just be great to have a baseline for the team of the season cards just to make them more usable, I think.
Yeah, somewhere kind of mid-80s, just set that as a minimum for a team of the season card. But I think obviously this draft is still subject to change. There are a couple of other quite nice cards in there. Victor Wanyama from Spurs. He could be a very, very powerful CDM.
Yeah, I hope he gets a solid pace upgrade, and he's already such a sort of unit and has a high defensive work rate. Yeah. Attacking, I think he could be very good.
And if he got a good dribbling boost as well.
Yeah,
very tasty. Gelson Martins, right mid from Sporting, who I think you used his regular card this year.
Yeah, he was actually really good, and he got an upgrade, which does suggest obviously he's good enough to get that team of the season. That's often an indicator, isn't it? But yeah, I'd actually be quite interested to try him out. Perfect link to Carvalho, who actually has had a poor season, so got a downgrade and doesn't look like he's going to get a look in for team of the season.
He did get that pretty solid inform.
Yeah, that's true actually. But a guy who's kind of, I think Carvalho kind of 2.0, if you like, is Danilo Pereira, the Porto kind of answer to Carvalho.
Kind of really just like tanky, deep-lying midfielder, but who's also got a great range of passing.
And he's actually got really good pace as well, Danilo. Well, not really good, but he's I think about 69 or something like that on his card currently, and he looks like he could get an 89 if they do a +6. And wow, he'd have really good stats, and he's actually not bad in terms of agility and stuff, so he'd feel really good on the ball. I don't know, I think potentially a bit of a cheap Vieira potentially.
Interesting. Got that kind of era bit in his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of clearly
definitely a giveaway.
Inspired choice from his parents. Yeah, let's move on.
So Bruma is another Portuguese player who actually looks one of the stronger cards. I mean, anyone who's used his regular card or his upgrade knows that he's definitely someone to try.
He's been a bit of a favourite down the years, with people, particularly for kind of starter teams. He's always been solid.
And there are a few other players which are kind of in random leagues, I think, which aren't necessarily so notable, but could still be good cards. I know that Pazdan is actually quite a decent card. Centre back,
Polish guy
plays in the Polish league, and Jorgensen plays for Copenhagen. Is Danish. There's a few good Danish cards, so he could potentially be someone that people could hybrid into a team. Kind of looking about, I don't think there's anyone else that noticeable.
Yeah, Pontus Jansson from Leeds. Fan favourite. Could be a nice-ish card. I think he's quite slow on this game.
Yeah, that's anything.
So maybe not so usable, but and keep an eye on.
Also, like, there's other people to mention: Rabbit, Young Boys, Swiss league player; Roger, who plays for Levante; Drusi, who plays for River Plate. But they're all cards that are going to be mega cheap. And Pazzini, who's playing in the Calcio B or.
The Hellas Verona.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some really interesting cards in there. But what you'll find is that in previous years at least, this team has been overpriced. Compare it with the rest of the team. Like, it shouldn't be as expensive as it is when it first comes out, because it's team of the season, because it's the new card types. People are like, yeah, I'm going to get Vertonghen in my Premier League team. Let's get Carvajal into my and actually, you wait a bit, and often these cards are re-released in other team of the seasons.
Often if it's a player who not only has been consistent across the year, but also just
one of the best players,
warranted a place in that league's team of the season, they will come out again in that league. So definitely ones to be wary of picking up early on.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, you might see players hit a real low. It's really hard to tell, but and in which case it's obvious that it's worth picking up. But sometimes a lot of people are trying to pick up or kind of shoehorn these players into their teams when perhaps there will be better options within a few weeks.
And I think looking at team of the season more generally going ahead, it's going to be basically very hard to predict what EA will do exactly this year, because they've tried to be as unpredictable as possible with their promotions this year, particularly as the year has developed and they've realised how into predicting, say, SBCs and promotions people have got. Because I'm sure they will release some big SBCs around team of the season, but exactly what form those take, we really don't know of how big they'll go.
And I think the other thing is to mention, which I'll cover more in the chat with Jamie, is that we are likely to see an SBC for a team of the season card, just because the number of cards they've asked for in this draft is greater than the number in a squad. So that extra card is likely to be an SBC card. And if you remember, listen back, look back to last year when there was the you basically had tournaments where you'd earn yourself a team of the season player by winning it, a daily knockout. I think that was a bit of a test for the whole SBC concept.
Yeah,
and you remember you had those tournaments where you get like a crazy Royce card and people like that.
Of course, yeah.
So this kind of concept has been tested last year, and obviously it was popular. So I think it'll be something that they'll look to do again, but it will just be a straight up SBC, you'd imagine. Maybe I don't know what kind of style, but it will definitely be.
Yeah, so kind of potentially for every team of the season, there's an associated SBC for the 24th man. Yeah, because obviously you get 23 in a starting 11 and subs and reserve bench. And
it'd be interesting to note whether that is actually going to be like the requirements are going to be league focused, whether you're going to have to use Premier League players in the Premier League SBC.
I could believe they might do that.
Yeah, I think that would actually kind of have a certain balance to it in terms of like how it works, because you're submitting players that are currently in demand because they're Premier League players or whatever. And especially with like the amount of cards that are out there and the fact that the team of the season is going to bring in more cards to that league, the options available, that will kind of trim it off a bit as well. So
yeah, no, it's going to be exciting times, really.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting stuff. Like it's worth stocking up now on some of the cheaper informs.
Yeah, well, I think while the team of the knockout stage SBC is around, there basically are no discard informs at the moment. The lowest you'll get any gold inform for is about 17k.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because they're required both for the tradable and untradable version of the SBC. So I think potentially a word of advice would be patience and caution, and just not going particularly hard on the team of the tournament SBCs, because team of the season will be bigger and the players will be better.
Yeah, and also if it's like a specific player, like you're going to know straight away what you're going to get and whether to do it, and you don't want to be short on coins to do that if a player comes up that you want to get. It's worth noting though that sort of like the 86 plus informs haven't seen as much of a rise. The 87s and above, which could be required if there's a really significant player.
We've sort of seen like a compression of the team of the week cards. You can get an 81 team of the week card for 17k, but then you could get, say, the 87 Jonas card for 20k. So it's kind of, if cards aren't in demand for teams, there's basically the only thing that's determining their price at the moment is the demand for this SBC, which is just putting them at around the high teens.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it kind of feels like we're drifting towards market chat. So maybe this would be a good time for you to go have your discussion with Jamie.
Yep, I'll dial him up. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Even better with the market connoisseur himself, at @FUT_economist back. Shame to have you missing through illness.
Yeah, unfortunate, because I think talking about the market in the past couple of weeks probably would have been one of the more helpful weeks with what's basically been going on with the market recently.
It does seem sort of after the last major promotion, things have really started to decline.
Right.
I mean, that was FUT birthday, wasn't it? And that was that saw a bit of a drop during the period of FUT birthday, but things actually recovered, I think, afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as it sort of tends to happen, a lot of what happens is you can look at you can sort of watch market sentiment as it gets distracted by certain events, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, like this is the next event on the radar, let's go invest / panic sell for that. You see that a lot with upgrade investing. You could almost follow the pulse of the market and the sentiment of the market to a T by watching the price of Mertens and Dembele, because they were so focused on. There'd be times where it was like almost like a laser focus on upgrade investing, and then times where there wasn't. Anyway, the point is, people forgot about team season coming around the corner because FUT birthday was such a major promotion. So high end cards, while they're being pushed down by the heavy hitting cards in the SBCs that were released, there wasn't the sort of usual panic sell that you might expect so close to team of the season. And then once that event wrapped up, there was a brief time where there was sort of just this lull in the market, and then all of a sudden they released the voting for the team of the season most consistent, and that triggered, or at least the market finding out about the end date of that team of the season, which is April 24th. The team of the season most consistent voting, which is April 24th, and then the knowledge that usually 2 to 3 weeks after that they're going to drop team of the season. All it took was a couple of big YouTubers to talk about it, a couple of big influencers on Twitter to talk about it, and now essentially the market thinks that the team of the season is going to drop in late May. I'm of the opinion that's probably going to drop on either May 19th, May 12th, or May 8th.
So you think more early May?
Somewhere early May. A lot of people are thinking like mid-May, but I'm thinking a little bit more early May.
Okay.
Just in general, I guess, just quickly going over what's been happening.
Last year it was around then, wasn't it? I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're correct. Just in general, what's been going on? High-end players have taken it on the chin, pretty badly actually.
Legends, especially.
Yeah, Legends took a hit pretty bad. That's sort of the barometer I use for high-end players, both on Xbox and on PS. You can just sort of track what people are thinking about and sort of just market sentiment in general about whether or not they're going to sell or liquidate their clubs based on the prices of Legend. And over the past, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks, the Legend index has dropped by like 15 base points. So that's just sort of a sign of the times. EA have done a pretty good job at propping up the lower end of the market with a bunch of SBCs that they've been coming out. The likes of sort of the revival of marquee matchups has made it so that a number of random players on random teams have shot up to nice prices again. The fact that they're doing the Team of the Week pack with that. They've released the European Tour SBC, which has helped out a little bit in the round 2 of that.
They're kind of hoovering off these players, aren't they?
Right.
And it's funny because the only players that aren't getting hoovered off are the sort of very top players, so those are the ones that are dropping.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But I think there's an interesting point here, which I've always felt with these things. When you see prices slump to the extent they are now, I always think, well, actually, maybe we don't. Maybe it isn't a good time to sell because I just don't see certain players, especially some of the useful legends, for example. I know that's only applicable to Xbox, and maybe some of the high-end players who aren't going to get a team of the season card. Let's say hypothetically, he will get a team of the season, but someone like Koulibaly, if he'd been he's a phenomenal inform, and if he'd not got a team of the season card, for example, then that card would really be one of the better centre backs in the Calcio A or Serie A still, and so he'd likely rise, become team of the season because people are building their teams again. So I do think there is a point we should probably put to our listeners that, if you've got one of those players, if you've got even maybe some legends, if you could afford to keep them, they probably won't stay as low as they are over the next week or two.
The question that everyone's asking, or sort of on everyone's lips right now, is do I liquidate my club? Is my value going to go to zero if I just keep holding on to it? And the answer is sort of a definitive no. The players that you might be a little bit worried about holding on to are if you have the highest rated version of, or even the less highest rated version. I'm talking about special cards, not regular cards. The highest rated version of a card that's likely going to get a team of the season card. For example, like a Marcus Alonso, like that 85 card that just got released. He's probably going to get a team of the season card. Someone like Kyle Walker, who's probably going to get a team of the season card. I'm just thinking, I don't know why I'm choosing fullbacks from the BPL right now, but
Well, actually, Koulibaly is actually an example of someone like that. He's quite likely to get a team of the season,
right? Yeah.
And so his cards possibly will drop. Although I don't know, he's one of those players. It's not super expensive, so maybe people would hang on to him anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. So I think an interesting one to point out is Pogba's dropped massively over the past couple of weeks. He's now down to about 280k on Xbox, which is definitely the lowest he's been. But I think he's another player that, he'll get packed a fair bit through team of the season, but actually demand for him is so high, and most people won't get a special card of Pogba because it's so expensive, and everyone wants Pogba in their team, in their standard Premier League side. So he's another one that might not stay as low.
It's going to be really interesting because obviously we've seen this year that with how EA has been doing and managing the upgrades to the Team of the Weeks, we've been saying this all along. The Team of the Season is going to be unreal. And it's going to be unreal in many leagues. The Calcio A, Bundesliga, EPL, Ligue 1, and even some of the smaller leagues like the Eredivisie, I think I probably butchered that
pronunciation. Turkish league,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a lot of leagues where you can sort of make a competitive weekend league team where you were probably missing some key components before. Maybe a left back here, or you lacked a proper CDM in one league. With Team of the Season coming out, I think a lot of those gaps are going to be plugged, and I think what's going to happen is it's going to be key. It's going to be really tough going into it to sort of guess how many coins people have going into it, and how many coins they're going to be willing to spend, because their resources are going to be spread out so much. Like I think we're going to see a ton of people transition to Calcio Way because their Team of the Season is going to be unreal.
Yeah. I can see that. So if you're saying if you can identify a player who might still be needed in those top end Calcio teams,
right?
Then that player may well rise. I think all players will rise, to be honest, but I think they could rise especially.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm still, like, you talked about how Pogba could rebound. I'm a little bit hesitant because I've always thought that all year prices have been high. For gold cards, for special cards, for legends, pretty much for anything that's high end, weekend caliber, I've always thought has been high all year.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, I've been obviously been playing weekend league a lot, and I've got a ridiculous amount of coins, and I don't even know where they've come from. Like, my ability to gain coins, like selling up for marquee match. Like I made 100k this week just selling for the SBCs that have been on for players in my club.
Exactly.
And it's like, I'm constantly kind of somehow gaining coins, right. And I don't see how prices can't rise to an extent. Maybe not huge rises on the top players, but I don't know. I feel like some of the players have to rise just because of demand. But you're right that people are going to be so interested in the Team of the Season cards that it's going to have to be someone who's better than those Team of the Season cards, really.
Right. Yeah, there's like so many factors going on that we're going to have to balance. It's like judging how many coins people are going to have, judging the effect of the other Team of the Seasons, which is going to depend on how high the ratings boost that EA give to the other like leagues. It's going to depend on like how interested people stay in the weekend league, because Team of the Season sort of nearing the end of the game cycle, or are people going to still be sort of incentivized enough to build like sweaty teams, or are they going to want to like sell their all their resources and try out that one really sweet card and then just like call it a year. And then, like you said, are those gold players in your clubs gonna go up? Sort of my opinion. It sounds like we're differing here. It's sort of my opinion is I think they're probably going to stay the same. I think they've adjusted down to their value.
I think you're probably right. I think I'm much more skeptical about the price of those standard gold cards than I am about the inform cards, which are maybe filling a niche even at Team of the Season stage.
Right. Right.
And legends, of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess the takeaway message then for if you haven't sold yet is you're probably better off, especially now that they've just released we're going to talk about it in a second, but the Team of the Tournament that they've just released. You're probably best off holding on to those cards and just not shuffling around your club and taking the tax loss on them. Especially if you have some high-powered, heavy-hitting cards in your club, you're probably just better off waiting for Team Season, hoping they rebound a bit. Because essentially what's happening right now is everyone's spooked from buying because they don't want to be, they don't want to be the idiots that were like, oh, I invested in Griezmann and he went down 200k. Why did he go down?
Yeah. I think people still think the market's dropping, whether it is or it isn't. Exactly. So people aren't buying. Is the bottom line. And I mean, this is kind of a side point, but like this could be a really good time to do well in the weekend league because people don't have like the best teams possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share that I'm 90%. I'm 90% liquid right now. I could barely even scrap a EPL team together. So like I would.
Yeah, maybe we need to rematch those 2 games we played.
Let's see what we can do.
No, I've actually still stayed fairly liquid, but like I bought in for Ronaldo a while ago or a few weeks ago, and I just can't like the loss is significant, but like. And maybe he'll go down more, but at the same time, I'm just like, he's really good, and I probably won't sell him ever, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So there's always that kind of thing. Like, I don't think he'll get another striker card. So,
speaking of Ronaldo,
yes, actually, that's a good point because there was a risk that he could have got a striker card this evening, but he obviously didn't.
The Team of the Tournament, sort of ironically timed, being that the knockout stage isn't out. So just thinking about all the timing of this, this is sort of on the fly while we're doing it. But do you know when the Champions League ends?
I think it's like June.
Early June?
June.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's June 3rd. June 3rd.
June 3rd,
I
okay.
just looked it up. Yeah. So that would mean that sort of in the middle of Team of the Season would be the release of the potential Champions League Team of the Tournament kind of thing, or as EA call it, European Team of the Tournament, since they have the rights for it. But yeah, so this is pretty crazy because this is sort of more or less out of nowhere. EA dropping this on us. I'm not complaining because I some of these cards are sweet with Ronaldo being a 98. No prizes for guessing what his team of the season is going to be related. Dybala being 91. Thiago and Vidal, one pace stat off of joining the All-80s club. Some pretty crazy cards in there. Ibris, just silently sitting on the bench. So yeah, some pretty crazy stuff. And then
pretty interesting stuff. Like the way they've just dropped this like out of the blue. Do you have any kind of feeling maybe this was to draw out people's packs that they've got stored up before the team season?
I mean, even Yashir, the live developer on Twitter, he's proficient in GIFs, and he. When every time they've been releasing fluent in GIFs, fluent in memes, I think was what I said earlier. He released he dropped a tweet saying like new SBCs coming, Team of the Tournament released, good luck holding on to your packs, kind of thing. So I think it's clear that they want people to spend all their saved up packs. They want them to open them, which would obviously be an ideal business kind of strategy heading into the Team of the Season for them. And then sort of what that does is that, like we were saying earlier, it pushes down the prices of the high-rated players. But at the same time, we actually just found out, we're actually a minute away from finding the specific requirements, but we just found out that they're going to be releasing a Team of the Tournament knockout stage, sort of like a Team of the Week guaranteed SBC, and they're doing that with the Team of the Tournament cards. Similar in fashion to the Team of the Week guaranteed SBC, they've dropped a Team of the Tournament guarantee SBC, one tradable and one untradeable. The requirements of which for the tradable look rather expensive, as would be expected with the quality of players up for grabs, but the untradeable version, it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the untradeable one, you've only got one Team of the Week player in there, and the actual rating for the squad isn't as high as we've come to expect with these. Right. It's only, I think, 82 for one and 83 for the other, which, I mean, there are a lot of 82 and 83 rated players out there. EA obviously trying to kind of prop up the value of those players as we head into a time when a lot of packs are going to be opened.
Right. Sort of makes it more worthwhile to open packs in general, too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good point. And then also you've got the tradable one. And that being so much harder to complete, I wonder whether EA are encouraging people to kind of lock away value, if you know what I mean. Because when you open that pack and you take your untradeable item, you can't actually sell it, so it's not on the market, so it kind of takes coins away.
Right, which sort of reminds me, as another argument for having cards in general be lower priced heading into team of the season than in previous FIFAs, just because there's so many untradeable cards. Yeah,
that's true. People have a lot of players that they kind of nobody would know they had, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could get interesting for the SBCs as well. I was going to say, actually, sorry, it's a little bit of a tangent, but the Team of the Season most consistent, they've asked for 24 players. Mm-hmm. There's only 23 in a squad, so I'm going to go out on a not particularly brave limb here, and say that there's probably going to be an SBC, which is the 24th item.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much just walking up the tree stump there.
I'm just
really odd analogy, but I think that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty likely. So that would mean that there'd be one a week, probably a team of the, or maybe two, because if they do team of the seasons a week, which they've often done, there could actually be two SBCs for players that are team of the season players, guaranteed.
And that brings up a good point, though. Look, just sort of with that in mind, say they do something similar to that. The requirements for that are not going to be cheap. Like if you do have interest in preparing for some sort of team of the season SBC, whatever they do release, it's pretty much the the tried and tested blanket investing method with,
Yeah.
Right now is probably not a great time to do 81 through 84 cards. But you can probably get your hands on some of the higher rated low price guys like Lam, and so they'll probably stay low, but there's a chance if they release a Whopper or something similar to the FUT birthday SBC where there's like a crazy high rated card, that they could potentially be valuable. Really just you can think of like what was valuable for that FUT birthday, those premium SBCs, and then just base your investing around that.
Great, all very useful stuff. And I think the last thing to talk about is actually Player of the Month for the month of April, which I feel like has kind of gone under the radar.
Exactly, and which is always something. I guess that's a good thing for investors at least, just because that means you can probably get away with making some sneaky investments before anyone really gets it before you. The top candidates, as a lot of people have already said, are Human Son, Aguero, and Hazard at the moment as it stands. Jagielka's also in there with a pretty good shout. He's got 3 goals and an assist for Everton, which is like pretty unusual for a center back, but just going based off of previous months, it's very difficult for a defensive player to win. So I do like investing for Son, especially since it's, in my opinion, unlikely that he's going to get a team of the season. As someone that's watched Spurs all year, he just hasn't been. He just has like these games where he just does unreal and like scores a bunch of goals. Right. So with that in mind, that would probably this Player of the Month could be his highest rated card. And I think a lot of people sort of recognize that it could be his highest rated card, and he's obviously someone who's incredibly desirable, especially with his 4-star skill upgrade. So there's still I think 2 games left. Maybe Spurs only have 1 game left, but for most teams there's 2 games left in this like Player of the Month cycle. So depending on how he does in that game, he does have a 1-goal lead right now, 1 goal and 1 assist lead on all other offensive sort of competitors right now. The next closest one being Aguero. So I think it's a pretty good shout for doing some just preemptive investing. If he gets 1 goal or even 1 assist, I think his investments are going to shoot way up. You can just sell into the hype if you're not willing to take the risk.
Yeah, exactly. There's a guy who plays for Hoffenheim, one of his former teams. Terrible right mid in form. Hunt, I think, or something.
Yep.
So I picked up him because he was just dirt cheap. I think he might still be discard. So yeah, but moving on to going back to your point there. The other thing is that Player of the Month might actually drop during the Premier League team of the season being out. Possibly, because it lasts 2 weeks, of course.
Right. Yeah.
And that would actually mean that if he wasn't in the team of the season, obviously, which is likely, if they know he's going to be a Player of the Month, you almost wonder whether they wouldn't put him in.
Right. Yeah.
And also the fact that that'd be the best card for Son that year, you would have thought, means that it could actually be quite a valuable SBC. One of your favourite players, of course.
Yeah.
With the 4-star skills.
With the 4-star skills now. He's very, very close to Ronaldo. His stats are like virtually the same as Ronaldo's regular card. If you look at his 88 right now, it's pretty crazy. Anyway.
Great to speak to you again.
Yep.
Glad you're back, and we'll look forward to hearing from you very soon.
All right, thanks. I'll see you later.
Welcome back after that break. I enjoyed it, of course, and I'm sure you did too. Did you enjoy it this time?
Yeah, it was nice.
Cool.
Didn't have to do anything while you were talking to Jamie. So
yeah, that's
nice and easy.
Extended break for you, hasn't it? But apart from that, I think we've got a bit of other business.
Before we get on to talking about team of the knockout stage and team of the week from this week, obviously last week we also saw skill move and weak foot upgrades.
Yes.
Which EA dropped on us. Kind of that really caught people out. I think no one thought that was coming quite as early as it did. And in the end, there were some significant ones, but not that many.
Yeah.
It's basically the big news was Son going up to 4-star skills, which does really kind of transform his cards a bit. If you're someone who likes using skills, kind of 3-star skills to 4-star skills is I would say, bigger difference than 4-star to 5-star.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of you get the chops, you get Berber spin, You just get a lot. Scoop turns, exactly. There's a lot of big differences. So Son going up to 4-star skills, really significant. Another one in terms of the higher rated players and also significance, Lacazette, 4-star weak foot. That does probably just tip his higher rated informs into like that very elite tier of player. Because
I know what you mean. Yeah,
his 3-star weak foot was one that always felt bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only used his 85 regular card this year, but I always kind of did struggle with the 3-star weak foot on him.
Sturridge up to 4-star as well. Another player from the Premier League. I tweeted saying like, how can you get an upgrade when you haven't played? I'm sure there'll be some angry Liverpool fans after that. But another interesting thing is pretty good for me is both Alexandro and Pereira. Not Pereira. I always call him Pereira.
Nelson
Semedo, the Portuguese right back who plays for Benfica. Yes.
Yeah.
Both got upgrades, skill upgrade and weak foot upgrade. So now they're both 3-star. Whereas Semedo had 2-star skills and Sandro had 2-star weak foot. So that was quite fortunate for me who had both. So now I've got 3-star on both sides.
Very nice, very nice. And I think the only new 5-star skiller is another big one. Ousmane Dembele from Dortmund. I know you've used him since getting 5-star skills. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. He is. I mean, he was already quite, because he was so agile and so kind of good on the ball. He already felt quite good with his 4-star skills.
Yeah.
But having him 5-star skills is just like added that little extra bit of stardust. He went up quite a bit to like 190k at the time, but I mean, it wasn't a huge jump compared with Son, who went up like almost doubled.
Yeah, people went crazy over his 86, 87 cards. Like their prices spiked ridiculously briefly.
Yeah.
Like kind of, it was literally for an hour and a half, and they dropped down
up
again.
to like 700k, and now he's back at like 270. So hopefully you didn't pick him up at that price.
Yeah, exactly. Though a note in terms of market prices, the 86 Son is currently 150 odd on Xbox. I think, to be honest, if you've got the coins, that's probably that's a pretty good deal.
You're not likely to take that much of a hit on him because he's such a good he's like one of the best strikers in the league.
Much below
even
that.
At 86.
Yeah, but that's an aside. Other cards to note who had their stats tweaked. One for me, Mali, the Cam in the Bundesliga, got 4-star skills. I got his 83 inform as a FUT Champions monthly reward ages ago, and he's been gathering dust in my club. But maybe I'll consider using him now. Marco Asensio as well from Madrid, 4-star skills, could be a nice one.
Yeah, he's actually not a bad card.
And of course, someone I think you're quite interested in the Bundesliga, Ben.
Gnabry I picked up a while ago, kind of with the knowledge that he'd probably get a 4-star skill upgrade, and he's like the perfect cheap striker. He's a bit of a Muriel of the Bundesliga.
Yeah, he's very much in that mold.
Yeah, and there just aren't many good 4-star skill strikers in the league. So he's someone who, if you kind of think you might have to make a Bundesliga team at some point, he's very cheap. So you just keep him in your club, and he'll be quite useful at some point. Marlos got 5-star skills. Bit of a blast from the past because he was 5-star on sort of FIFA 12 and was a silver card that was phenomenal. But yeah, apart from that, there aren't really any kind of really notable players. Very disappointing.
Torgan Hazard. 4-star skills.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, interesting.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's actually a solid non-rare, isn't he, as well, with 4-star skills. But yeah, sorry, just going to say on the Belotti card, I got his monthlies in my rewards, which, by the way, were terrible. Don't bother getting elite. You can check that out on our Twitter, at FUT Weekly Pod, because it was pretty poor. But I was hoping he'd get a 5-star weak foot upgrade, because he does have that on head-to-head.
Interesting.
But he doesn't have it. He just got the 4-star weak foot upgrade, which is a bit of a shame. Another player to miss out was Abubakar, who didn't get 5-star skills. Would have been phenomenal, but we'll talk about his knockout card.
Might have just broken the game.
Yeah, I think he would have been one of the best strikers on the game. Honestly, he's seriously good. We'll talk about him because he got a team of the knockout stage card actually. So
definitely.
So I think we've there are plenty of others you can look at. Just go on any of your FUT websites and you'll find the upgrades to flick through. I feel like if you're interested in upgrades, skill upgrades, you probably know about it already, and if you don't, you're probably bored. So we'll move on to the knockout team of the knockout stage.
Team of the knockout stage, a bit like when we had team of the group stage. We kept calling it team of the season, gold, silver, something. I was struggling talking about this earlier. Something about, I guess it's like unfamiliar.
Yeah,
we're so used to saying team of the season, team of the week,
or just team of the tournament.
Team of the tournament, exactly. But yeah, this is TOTKS. So let's go. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo's record breaker card, 98 rated, phenomenal. Insane. Like 2.5 mil on Xbox, 3 mil on PlayStation. You know what you're getting. Arturo Vidal in the heart of midfield.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome card.
Just missed out on that 80 pace there.
Yeah, classic EA troll with 79 pace there.
Yeah.
Another Bayern player, Thiago. His, what is that, 4th special item?
Yeah, he's
something like
maybe
that.
even 5th.
When he gets team of the season, it's going to be a ridiculous card because basically the weakness in his game was his physical and his defending, and that it's creeping up. His defending is now 73 on card, physical of 80. Some very, very nice in games.
And getting a nice stamina boost as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be, without a doubt, one of the better better attack. Basically, he'll be the best attacking mid in the game, I reckon. When that happens,
it's a big shout, but he does,
because of his strength. But
does have 5-star skills. He's going to be a really, really good card. Casemiro from Madrid, looking phenomenal all round, just lacking in a bit of pace, but you can probably fix that with a Shadow or Catalyst chem style.
Yeah,
exactly
and I think
where you want to play him.
He should get a team of the season, and one with 70 plus pace would be lovely.
In terms of other players in the starting 11, Mbappe from Monaco.
Yeah, solid card.
Getting better and better. If he had 4-star skills, he would be awesome. Like
he'd get a lot more
good.
love, I think. Yeah.
I suspect next year his card will be very sought after. And his team of the season this year, assuming he gets one, will be phenomenal. Paulo Dybala, very nice, 91 rated card. Outrageous stats on him. Again, you kind of know what you're getting. He's ridiculously good this year. All of his cards are. Giorgio Chiellini in defence, very, very solid 90 rated card there. Cabral, Argentine player for, is that Sociedad?
Yeah. Celta Vigo. Yeah.
Celta Vigo.
Just way too slow, but
Yeah.
Also Buffon is in this.
Of course, yeah.
And he's also 89, and as you know, we both got SBC Buffon, and I complained about him. In fact, we both did. Someone messaged saying he was also terrible for them, and you submitted in your El Shawari SBC.
I was like, I'd much rather have an El Shar Cam than a Buffon who I never use.
And I've started using him just because I've been trying to save coins, and I've got him in goal, and I've put a different cam style. I've used Cat to boost his reflexes, positioning and speed, and he does seem a bit better, but they've just really mugged me off with this card because all his stats are pretty much higher than the SBC.
Really?
And they never do that. Normally they balance it.
Yeah, normally
so
it's like some are better, some are worse.
But they've just, I don't know, either it's like them trying to fix a card that they know is broken by giving some stat boosts, or they're just personally victimising me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for the latter.
The latter, definitely more likely.
Yeah.
So unlike a team of the week where the bench is usually a bit weaker, we've got some awesome, like really top tier cards on the bench here. 95 Ibra, which I'm assuming will probably be his best card this year because I don't know if he'll get a team of the season. And we just heard he's going to be out for about 9 months with an injury.
Yeah, he could get a team of the season though.
It is possible. I think he's a kind of borderline card.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It could well be that this card gets a little spike if there is no card
definitely
at that stage. Yeah,
but some like phenomenal stats on him. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Dortmund. I'm not a massive fan of his card this year. He's just not in form, and the lack of 4-star skills, he just feels a bit clunky. But I'm sure that this 90 rated team of the tournament card will be really, really good.
Yeah, and again, like about EA sort of victimising me personally, of all the like walkout or high rated cards I could get in that FUT birthday pack, I did get a Aubameyang, and like
it's non-tradable, and you're just
I'm
not going to use it. Sad, very sad. But also on the bench, Alexandre Lacazette with an 89 card with just some pretty outrageous stats on him.
Yeah.
As we were talking about, 4-star weak foot now, that's going to be a really good card and pretty cheap at 330k on Xbox, slightly more on PlayStation.
I mean, if you compare it to it's a solid upgrade on his SPC, and it's not even that much more, and you can sell him on. So
yeah, exactly.
Schmeichel obviously amazing.
Schmeichel really solid, getting closer and closer to his dad's card.
Yeah, and also closer to Gillet Gang.
Yeah,
in quotes, obviously it's not Gillet Gang anymore. All 80s.
The goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, there must be few.
I don't think we've ever had a goalkeeper with everything above 80.
Because of the speed factor, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, he must feel really quick, actually.
Must be interesting, actually. I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper with such high speed. Yeah, but that's something to test out at another point. Iago Aspas. I think we both got him as an untradeable.
Yeah, we were saying he's like a solid card, but 3-star skills and doesn't really excite.
Yeah, 86 Dendonka. I quite like the look of him, actually.
I think he could be quite good. If you can pair him up with Naha, who's like left back.
At Anderlecht
as well.
And then he's obviously Belgian, so you've got a lot of good links outside the league there. If you're in a formation where the left back just needs one strong link, you're kind of golden there. You can use... I don't know, Nainggolan, Lukaku, Hazard, all sorts.
Mertens. It looks pretty good. And obviously we've got a couple of not so good Spanish players with Hugo Malo and Pozzello.
Yeah, though Hugo Mallow, a point on him, he's got pretty good agility, 80 pace, but with Shadow you can sort that out. I think he could be a decent card, and he's pretty cheap.
Let's just move on from Pozzello quite quickly.
Let's not talk too much about Pozzello. Anderson Talisca in Super League looks decent.
Yeah.
Really nice shooting, but pretty weak defensively.
Yeah, he's got quite good strength, and he's more of a cam type, but he doesn't have 3-star skills. And his stamina isn't phenomenal, plus the fact that he's got medium-low work rate, so you can't really play him in the in very deep. But yeah, he'd be alright if you want to get a strong link to Quaresma, or a man I'm about to talk about, in fact.
Yeah, well, do we want to move straight on to that? Because the only other players on the bench are Fiergaver and Collie, neither of whom look that good.
Yeah, let's just move on. Right, I'll start off by giving you my thoughts on Abubakar. And anyone who's listened to the pod regularly will know I'm quite a big fan of Abubakar. I would have been even more of a fan had he got the upgrade to 5-star skills. But this card was quite unexpected and possibly will be his best card of the year. Well, to be honest, I think if you got a team of the season, I don't know how much better he'd be, because the stats on this, with Hunter, you get 98 acceleration, 99 sprint speed, so that's sort of almost holy grail of pace, 95 finishing, 99 positioning, 98 shot power, and 97 long shots, plus 89 volleys and 99 penalties. But, he's just going to hit the net every time without getting fouled in the box, so don't need to worry about the penalties. He's got really good strength at 91. He's got 84 stamina, which is perfectly fine, 85 jumping, and 85 aggression. I think if you look at this card, it's one of those things that kind of stands out to you. There's kind of no real weakness particularly.
Yeah.
He's got, the only things kind of struggles attacking wise are 66 crossing and 70 balance, but I think the balance will be fine because he's very strong, and that's actually not bad considering the balance of some top players in the game. 99 heading accuracy as well, and he's actually got really good vision at 90 and 87 short passing, 79 long passing, 80 curve, 78 free kick accuracy, so you can kind of mix it up. You can do everything.
Actually really surprisingly strong passing stats for a player in his kind of mould of sort of pacey, strong striker.
And he's got 86 agility, which is phenomenal for a guy with 91 strength. You're not going to see that on many of the top players. And 86 ball control and 87 dribbling will do the job as well for a guy his kind of size. He's got flair. He's got tries to beat defensive line, so he makes really good runs in behind. He's obviously got that 4-star skills. And at 3-star weak foot, it's not terrible. You're going to have to work it onto his stronger foot, but, using a bit of skill moves, his dribbling and strength, I think you'd be okay. And obviously link him up with Quaresma for that kind of skill combo. It's just really good to see, because I really enjoyed a 78 rated card, but it quickly became kind of unusable in Weekend League or competitive play, because, those stats, finishing, etc. weren't up there. But now with, 95 finishing with Hunter, and obviously that can be taken up to 99, it's a really, really good card.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Well, I'm going to move on to another striker who's also quite strong, not quite as strong as Abubakar, and a little bit shorter. It's Nabil Fekir, playing for Lyon. And I used his 81 early this year and was quite liked him, but he did feel like he just needed that slight boost to really be effective. And I think maybe I hadn't gone all out in terms of the chem style I was using, so his finishing was a bit low. But this card looks really, really nice. He's got, start off with his dribbling, just by default, 91 agility, 92 balance, 90 ball control, 90 dribbling, as well as 80 reactions, which is solid. And physically, 85 stamina, 82 strength, really nice stats there. But I think where he really shines is if you put Hunter on him, his pace and shooting are almost maxed out. He gets 99 acceleration, 97 sprint speed, and you'll really feel that with the 91 agility and 92 balance. And then in his shooting, 99 positioning, 99 finishing, 99 shot power, 94 volleys, 95 penalties, and 85 long shots. Maybe slightly disappointing, but if you just get yourself in the box, rather than taking on the long shots.
Proper striker.
Play him as an out-and-out striker, he'll be really, really good there. And I just think this guy could be a really, really solid card, particularly if you wanted maybe someone to pair up with one of those high-rated Lacazette cards, maybe with Ben Arthur. The options in Ligue 1 are actually kind of pretty expansive
increasingly
now.
good, aren't they? Yeah, and with the team of the season on its way, I don't know whether he'll get in there. I'm not that familiar with his performance over the season, but it'd be interesting to know whether this is going to be his best card.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to keep tabs on. Also, a note on his passing: he's got 87 vision, 90 short passing, 80 long passing, and sort of acceptable free kicks with 83 free kick accuracy, 89 curve. Unfortunately, no finesse shot trait. But he does have the chip shot, he does have flair, and he's also got technical dribbler, which I think with his balance of agility, ball control and dribbling will feel really, really good. He'll be one you can use the 2-trigger dribble just to really abuse people.
So how much is he going to kind of set you back on the consoles?
Unfortunately, he's maybe slightly more than you might want to pay. I think he's 130 odd on PlayStation and just over 100k on Xbox.
But considering his actual stats,
considering his stats, it is really. It's not a crazy price, but just given how much some other players have dipped recently, I think he still seems a bit pricey.
Maybe still quite a bit of hype around him.
Yeah,
I mean, Abubakar will kind of set you back only about 30k on both consoles, maybe a bit less actually. So he's pretty budget. If you're trying to look for like a cheap fitness team, market crash team, then maybe he's your guy.
Yeah, well, you could do worse than looking at a Super League team to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with a presumably cheap team of the season side that's going to come out, could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Shall I move on to the final player?
Yeah, another relatively cheap one.
Yeah, I think we've sort of focused on the more bargain players because, I don't know, some of you may be holding off buying players, which is why the market's crashed, because nobody's buying and everyone's selling. But these kind of cheaper players could be quite fun to try out. Howeed looks really, really good. He could get a team of the season, but this card at 24k, I mean, it's an absolute steal. With Shadow, obviously that's going to set you back about 4k. But 82 acceleration, 82 sprint speed, which is obviously decent. Not amazing, but decent. He's got 76 agility, which will make him feel relatively quick, I think.
Yeah.
And I've actually been using Cannavaro recently. The legend, not the gold non-rare card. He's his brother. And he's got sort of plus 80 agility. I think he's got about 81 agility. And that kind of sort of agileness is really helpful when you're defending players like your Mertens and people like that. It really kind of makes the difference. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy Boateng perhaps as much as many people might think. But yeah, he's got good balance. He's got good ball control and dribbling. He's got good reactions. 95, pretty good. He's got maxed out defending. Everything's on 99 apart from heading accuracy at 98. And he's got 91 jumping and 90 strength on a guy who's 6'1". He's got 76 stamina, which is obviously usable, and 88 aggression, as well as 88 short passing. So I don't think there's too much you can say other than his stats are pretty phenomenal. He's got ultimate professional and leadership. Don't think that does anything, but worth a mention. Injury prone, which isn't so exciting, but the rest of the stuff just looks outstanding. And I think he's at 23k. Surely he's worth a go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are lots of strong centre backs in the Bundesliga, but he looks like a really, really nice addition to that roster.
Yeah, exactly. And possibly slightly cheaper than some of the other players, and also German, and there aren't actually that many good German centre backs.
Yeah, no, that is a very good point, actually.
Apart from Boateng.
Should we move on to Team of the Week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Well, it's another pretty good Team of the Week. I think there are just so many high-rated cards in the game now that you're always going to get a couple above 90. And this week we've got Di Maria, Isco and De Bruyne all above 90. All look very nice. De Bruyne, a note on him, he's a right mid, which I think has pushed his price down a bit. But so many people this year set up in like a 4-3-2-1 and then switch to a 4-1-2-1-2 in game. So if you're prepared to do that, then I think you could do a lot worse than using him.
Yeah.
Carrasco, another inform for him, looking very nice. 89 shooting now on him, really solid card.
And Isco with an inform 2 weeks after another.
Yeah, exactly. His team of the season is going to be mental.
Yeah.
I think potentially a link between him and Thiago.
Yeah.
To what we were saying before. In the centre of midfield in this team of the week, we've got Ander Herrera and Seri from League a note on Ander Herrera, he looks like a really nice all-round card, but quite a lot of hype, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. He's not super expensive, but there are a lot of decent very good midfield options in that league.
Yeah.
But I do wonder whether he's the best midfield option for a link to Zlatan, who isn't Pogba.
4-star skill is always nice on a midfielder.
Yeah, exactly. And he's high work rates, which is obviously really nice and has decent stamina. So yeah, I think he'd be worth picking up if you've got a Premier League team. Why not try him and sell him on when he rises probably a little bit after this week?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, a note on Seri. If you put anchor on him, his in games are ridiculous. He's kind of well above 80 across the board. The
only disappointing thing is 2-star skill moves, right?
Yeah.
And high attacking, medium defensive. Whereas he looks like he'd be better as like a conventional box to box or a more defensive player.
Yeah, and he is pretty tiny.
Yeah.
So it's whether or not he has the special amazing hidden trait that Kante has that turns him into God.
But again, linked to a mercurial big striker in Balotelli, so could be useful.
Yeah, good shout there. Zapata, meh. Company with a pretty solid looking card. I've come up against his card a bit this year, but because he's lost a bit of pace, people just haven't used him that much.
Yeah, he's still a bit of a pain to play against, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan against him. And Socrates with the third in form, looking ridiculous. Again, he's one who's going to get a very, very nice team of the season, most likely. So that's probably keeping the price of this card quite low.
Yeah.
It's only 60k at the moment on Xbox. Looking onto the bench, we've got Leno, very nice card there. Jonas, ridiculously cheap for an 87 rated inform, and actually some really nice stats on him. If you look at him with Hunter, he's I think he'd actually be a really, really good striker.
If when you're listening to this, he's still like 20k ish, like low 20s on Xbox. Sorry, 20k on Xbox and about sort of 23, 24 on PlayStation. I just recommend picking him up because he's an 87 rated card. He's by far the cheapest 87 rated card, and he will only
Special
go
card,
up.
that is.
Sorry, special card, of course. And yeah, he's just bound to go up. But to be honest, he's not even that much more expensive than what you saw the 87 non-rares go up to.
Yeah,
during they were like 16k
during the premium SBCs over FUT birthday.
So I feel like there's some point he's bound to increase in value.
Yeah.
I've bought 10.
Yeah,
like if you lose coins, you'll be losing them with me, and we can moan about it together. And
yeah, exactly. It's got the Ben guarantee.
Yeah.
Another player on the bench, Quincy Promes, looks very nice. His second in form. This one is a striker. That's the significant thing around this card. Pretty cheap, just over 30k on PlayStation, just under on Xbox. Some really nice stats on him: 87 dribbling, 87 shooting, crazy pace.
I used his right wing card, and he was really, really good. And as a central player in like a 4-1-2-1-2, where you can kind of have him as like a kind of false winger, kind of thing.
False winger.
That's where he would really, really sort of excel, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Muniain, I used his base card very early on this year. He was pretty average. This card also looks fairly average. I think he's got 69 shot power, which is pretty disappointing for an inform. But he's got very high agility and balance. Might be alright. Rafael Toloi looks pretty terrible. And Demirbe looks like one of the worst golden forms I've seen this year.
Yeah.
So let's move on to players that we want to take a closer look at. Who have you picked out, Ben?
So a player who's now on his third inform, a right wing, 87 rated, not as cheap as Jonas. It's Thauvin. And Thauvin really struggled at Newcastle, so I don't know why he's doing so well in Liga. Don't know what that says about Liga or what it says about Thauvin. But he is looking like a really good card, partly because he's got 81 strength, which I think a lot of people don't really... Well, maybe now looking at his physical, you can tell that he's quite strong, but 81 strength is really good. And you combine that with actually 91 agility. A guy who's 5'10", has 93 dribbling and 85 ball control. This is all as standard on the card. He looks like a really, really solid player, and the kind of player that would maybe operate best as like a right forward, or actually has a higher rating per position at striker. So he's a 93 rated striker with Hunter. And Hunter is what I've decided to go with him for the purpose of this sort of talk through, because his passing is phenomenal anyway. He's got 90 short passing and 90 long passing and 91 vision. So there's no need to boost that unless you're going to try and, I don't know, play him at cam or something. The only place he kind of gets let down is 77 balance. But I think his kind of other stats will compensate for that enough, and that's not terrible in the grand scheme of things. Remind you that Suarez and Ronaldo both have sub 70 balance even on many of their special cards.
As does Latan.
He has like 50, doesn't he, or something like that?
His balance is terrible, but you don't really feel it
because he's so strong. Yeah. So 99 acceleration, 92 sprint speed, that's quick, 96 finishing, 99 positioning, 99 shot power, 96 long shots, and 89 volleys. So yeah, he's pretty good. And I think combined with the 4-star skills, and I think he has 4-star weak foot, does he as well? No, he doesn't. He has 3, but he's left footed. And yeah, can cut him from the right, or you can play him maybe a bit, tucked in as a striker, or you can switch it up in game. So he's a cam. He's quite versatile. He's only 37k, and I think if you're looking for another cheap player to use at the moment, he could be your man. Easy to link as well.
Yeah, really, really strong card. I'm quite tempted to pick one up just to try him out, actually.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to my pick, who is another right-sided, left-footed player with 4-star skills, though this guy also has 4-star weak foot. And it's Xherdan Shaqiri from Stoke.
He's also a player who's quite strong as well, isn't he?
Yeah, pretty similar strength stats, actually. So clearly sticking to a theme. This guy's a lot shorter though, of course. And Shaqiri is a card who, whenever I come up against him this year, I seem to really struggle. And I think it is the combination of his balance and strength. This card has 99 balance and 81 strength by default. And I was looking at his stats, and I mean, you could go all out and go with Hunter on him, which almost maxes out his pace. You get 99 acceleration and 97 sprint speed, I think. But just to try and capitalise on his pretty high strength and awesome dribbling stats, I thought maybe you could try him out with Marksman, which gives him 97 agility, 99 balance by default, as I said, 88 reactions, 92 ball control, 94 dribbling, alongside 86 strength and 76 aggression. I think he'll feel really, really just solid really on the ball, just so hard to knock off. And his shooting, the only weak point you get left with is finishing, because his shot power is awesome by default. With this chem style, he gets 96 positioning, 99 shot power, 97 long shots, 94 volleys. But yeah, as I said, only 87 finishing. You could boost that more with a chem style that gives more than a 5+5 boost.
And if you put something like Sniper, I guess you get like 97. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so the potential is there to sort of almost max out his finishing. But I think maybe if you went for something with a +10 boost, say Hunter, then kind of 92 finishing with maxed out shot power is going to be more than good enough.
And that kind of massive pace boost as well. Yeah, I mean, he looks really phenomenal, and he's not expensive, is he? I mean, for a Premier League kind of top right winger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Premier League has now got a fair few good options at right wing. You've got the Mane cards, you've got Mkhitaryan's got a few. But this Shaqiri card is definitely up there, and yeah, he's sort of 60k on Xbox and about 80 on PlayStation.
Yeah, I suppose it's difficult to link. That's the only thing.
Yeah, you're slightly lacking in terms of other Swiss players. I mean, if you had the striker Embolo from right at the start of the year, maybe. But that's a bit of a hipster choice at this stage, I'd say. I mean, a lot of people do just run Premier League teams. Yeah, I've got a Premier League team, so he does fit in. But yeah, not great from a kind of hybrid point of view. But just a note on his traits, he does have flair, which is always useful, and long shot taker, which I think can make a massiff difference to shooting from distance, as well as speed dribbler, which I think might be part of why I always struggle against him. I feel like if he gets away from your fullback, you just and he's between your fullback and the goal, you just can't catch him because he's got that pace, he's got the speed dribbler trait, so he can take kind of heavier touches, he feels quicker on the ball, and he's so strong. So definitely want to check out, particularly if you've used any of his previous cards and enjoyed it. This just looks like a really solid upgrade.
Definitely, and I think on that, we're probably ready to move on to our reviews this week. Both our players are players that I've used.
Yeah.
But your player is a player that you bought fairly recently. And a bit of a tank.
Yeah, he's rather large, and he plays in defence. And his name is Kalidou Koulibaly. He plays for Napoli in Serie A. Most people will probably know his card fairly well. He was a really popular choice at the start of the year, just his regular 82 card. He got an upgrade in January. He's had a team of the tournament from the AFCON, and he then got a team of the week shortly after that, which is an 86 rated card. He's 6'5". He's got 97 strength by default. And with Shadow, he's just a ridiculous card. If we're looking at his stats, 87 acceleration, 92 sprint speed, maxed out defending, 99 on everything except for heading accuracy at 96, along with 72 short passing, though terrible vision, so don't try anything too ambitious, and 99 reactions, which I think is quite a nice little stat, and really makes him... He just picks up the ball in situations when you really wouldn't expect him to necessarily.
In the box, he's ready. He turns on. He's ready, and he's clearing it. Yeah.
No, I mean I've only used him for a handful of games. I just picked him up a couple of days ago. I've lost quite a lot of coins on him, but I'm happy with that because he is one of the best centre backs I've used this year. I'm a really, really big fan of his. And the only question is whether he gets a team of the season card. Not much point maybe in talking about the prices because the market is just doing crazy things right now. At this moment, as we record, he's 64k on Xbox and just over 100 on PlayStation. But a couple of hours ago, he was closer to 90 on Xbox. So it's things are all over the place really. But yeah, as a card, I cannot recommend him highly enough. I think he's really, really excellent.
The size of him is the big thing. He's 6'5", and he's obviously got a huge body type. So you kind of is just such a unit to go round.
Yeah.
Like, I think players running up to him and kind of try and knock it past him or go round him, like they've got to take some massive circle to get round.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
his grab kind of circle or his like area of influence is like so large that actually like he's going to get it in any case. And he's not inagile. Like, he doesn't feel sluggish. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's only got 67 agility, but you don't really notice. And I mean, to be honest, that's not a terrible stat for such a big centre back.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've got a Serie A team, I think he's probably maybe alongside the team of the knockout stage, Chiellini, maybe the best centre back in that league. Like,
yeah.
I found him really, really phenomenal.
I think the only thing is the lack of strong links. Left back, right back, there aren't good links. Goalkeeper, there aren't good links. So you're looking at maybe Alan as a CDM. He's solid but not amazing. Tonelli in form is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you can surround him, obviously, with weak links, you're all good. So.
Play Mertens at CDM.
Yeah.
Easy.
Exactly.
But yeah, that kind of wraps things up on Koulibaly. Who's your pick this week, Ben, for Player of the Week?
So we've got a little bit of a hipster pick, but someone who's perfectly capable in the weekend league. I've been playing him as a wide centre mid in the 4-1-2-1-2-2, and it's Locomotive's Manuel Fernandes. He's kind of the perfect player for the right centre mid position in the 4-1-2-1-2 brackets 2, so the one with the two wide centre mids, not left mid, right mid, because he kind of has the stats of kind of a winger come centre mid. He's got ridiculous dribbling, 93 agility, 94 ball control, 93 dribbling, and 81 balance. And so that kind of allows him to do that kind of winger's role.
These stats are with basic chem style.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Basic chem style. So I think that works best because you're trying to get the most out of him as a sort of box-to-box player. And his finishing is really good, so he can kind of shoot from distance or finish, 83 finishing, 89 long shots and 96 shot power, and then decent volleys, positioning, etc. 92 acceleration and 79 sprint speed with basic, so you can kind of like really set off and go past someone if he needs to, but also has the kind of sprint speed to motor up and down the pitch. Defensively, he's really solid. If you use basic, again, he gets like pretty much exactly 80, and his heading accuracy is a bit low, so actually he's got very decent standing tackle, marking and sliding tackle. He's got 82 strength with basic, 76 aggression, 88 jumping, so he's actually not bad in the air despite being 5'8", and he's just really good at cutting in from the outside, going charging around the outside if he needs to. He can play a pass, he can shoot. He's obviously defensively solid. The only place he really lacks is that stamina. 82 stamina, you kind of want a bit more than that. And he's
particularly for that role. Wide
exactly. So I do find that I have to sub him off, but that often gives you the chance of bringing in someone who you can't fit into your team, and that kind of works fine for me, to be honest. And it's not like every game he seems to get tired. I think the medium means that he's not kind of charging up and down all the time. Mm-hmm. I actually quite enjoyed medium. I think his positioning felt a bit better, like he was kind of more considered, not just charging up and down.
Yeah.
I actually prefer him over Marchisio, who actually costs a little bit more than Manuel Fernandes, despite Fernandes being an 85 rated man of the match item. So
yeah, I mean, he is dirt cheap, isn't he? At 16k on Xbox and about the same on PlayStation right now.
Exactly, and I'm not sure I mentioned that he has like an average of about 95 short passing, long passing, and then 90 vision as well. So he can pretty much do everything, and he's exactly the kind of player you want. And hopefully gets team of the season. And if not, I mean, at 16k, this is just a ridiculously cheap card.
I've used his 83 in form, and he's really, really solid. But again, kind of had the problem with the stamina, and I think just the +2 overall and the maybe +3 on average across a lot of his stats will really make the difference with this card.
Yeah, he's really, really good, and strongly recommended.
Awesome. Well, that kind of sees us to the end of this episode, doesn't it?
Another huge pod.
Yeah, quite a long one. And I guess all that remains to be said is if you enjoyed this podcast, you can subscribe on iTunes or through the Android podcast apps, as well as on YouTube. But we kind of prefer podcasting platforms. It just means it's uploaded a bit quicker. You can download it automatically. It's all just a slightly smoother process for this form of media. But that wraps us up. Good luck if you're smashing those Team of the Tournament packs. I hope you get that Ronaldo. And no Cabrals or Pozuelos. And good luck also if you're playing the Weekend League. I hear it's horrendously laggy this week.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be extended.
Yeah, might get an extension.
Bye.
Bye-bye.